you go first.
All right, starting off on match 1 here. With Norris, we have Cooper Newman playing top, Tyler Wilson in the jungle, Eli Sherman in the mid, Elena Elwood in ADC, and Zach Robertson as our support.
And for our Platteview team, we have Annalise Becerra as our ADC, Mason Madden in jungle, Tyler Menke is a flex pick here, Evan Mahold in top, and Addison McClintock doing mid and support.
Going to be an interesting match. We got a Jason, a Kane ban already, along with a Vayne and Zach ban.
I do think that Zach ban is good because it is really tough to play against his engages.
Definitely going to be a hard early game counter. I'm glad to see that ban.
Absolutely. And Kane is just easy because he can just flex into whatever he needs to be.
Yep, Kane is one of the top picks right now in the jungle, so it's good to see him out of the game, as well as the Xin Zhao.
Xin Zhao is decently strong as well.
That early game threat from the Xin Zhao as well. A lot of anti-early game for the jungle picks here.
Absolutely. There is that Vayne ban, though, which is a huge scaling pick.
Indeed. And
an
an Ace Soul.
So they really don't want this game to go late.
No, they do not.
We have a Jax pick here. Whoa, for Jax. What would you want to pick in a Jax?
There isn't a lot of good options. Range is going to just flat out lose. You need something brawly that doesn't rely on auto attacks.
Mordekaiser
is an excellent pick in that situation.
Mordekaiser's a wonderful pick for that. All right, we'll see what they get to blind pick here. Red side does have to blind pick their second pick here. I'm very interested to see what type of team comp we have here. A Vi.
A Vi blind pick. That's an excellent pick in my opinion, especially for the early game.
Absolutely. And a Kha'Zix.
And they pick a Kha'Zix into a Vi.
This is a little rough considering that Mordekaiser and Vi are both extremely tanky. But if you prioritize your Kha'Zix correctly with his itemization, I think he could actually take him out.
Yeah, I just worry about the Kha'Zix late game not going to be able to do as much in team fights especially. Malzahar pick, though, that's going to definitely make up the difference in that team fight.
Absolutely. And the Ziggs will be great at tower removing. He's just going to demolish those towers. Also has decent wave clear. Against Malzahar, that's really good.
Yep, being able to shove that Malzahar in, not letting the Malzahar really get anywhere. We're switching off of the Ziggs. I'm not sure how to feel about that. I feel like they would have been better sticking on that Ziggs, but Lissandra is also an excellent pick, considering that they can choose an enemy champion to just not also be able to play. Kind of a counter to the Malzahar removing somebody.
I do. Well, also, the hard CC would also cancel Malzahar's ult.
Yes.
We have a Blitzcrank ban coming out. It's a little odd considering that they do have a Mordekaiser, a Vi, and a Lissandra. I think if any of those get pulled, it's not the worst.
Not the worst, not the best for the Lissandra, but the Lissandra can E out if needed.
A Lux ban, quite common.
Yeah, Lux is kind of one of those champions that if you don't ban them, they get picked because it's pretty simple and can deal a lot of damage early.
Absolutely. I am interested to see how this Lissandra is played out because Lissandra is normally a roaming laner, and Malzahar is really good at split or just pushing.
It's going to be a difficult matchup for sure.
A Draven ban.
A Draven ban. Interesting. I expect that's a scouting ban. I don't see a lot of Draven bans.
And a Kog'Maw ban.
Also, I would assume those are scouting bans. Those don't feel like a normal ban that one would go for.
Kog'Maw is a very difficult champ to play.
Yes. A good Kog'Maw can do a lot, but if the Kog'Maw has not gotten that much experience, it's not going to end well.
I do see most Kog'Maws play a little bit safer because they have that range, but also they are very skill shot heavy.
Yeah.
And a Caitlyn.
Excellent pick considering the Jax. Being able to get that range on the Jax, stay back, and wait for the E to die.
And we saw this pick yesterday, actually, with Tristana Leona.
That's going to be very hard. Caitlyn, Senna...
Caitlyn Nami.
Caitlyn Nami. I feel like the Nami's a better pick than Senna in this situation for sure, but there's no real good picks with a Caitlyn into a Tristana Leona.
I do see it being really tough for the Nami to be able to get her heal off here because of how long range Caitlyn is.
Yes, but I feel like it's going to be easier because of the Leona hopping on top of them.
That is true. We'll see how this works out. Hopefully the Nami E can really help that Caitlyn boost her damage.
Indeed.
And we are hearing from our corner of Platteview yelling about summoner spells, reminding themselves to pick the right ones.
Indeed. An unfortunate fact about tournament draft in custom games, it will reset your runes and summoner spells the first time playing it. And occasionally we'll just reset it at random from personal experience. So making sure that you have the correct things going into a match is very key.
It might reset your summoner spells because of the patches.
I've seen a coordination with that. It just seems... I don't pay enough attention. That's honestly on me.
It is important, though, that junglers have smite. That is the best and most important thing, is that your jungler has smite.
If the jungler does not have smite, the jungler loses because the jungler cannot level off of camps.
They also cannot jungle. So we'll see how this goes. It does seem like a lot of hard engage coming out from the blue side here, while the red side here either wants to walk in and just kind of walk at the enemy team, or they want to help and disengage.
It looks like the red team here has a lot of just choosing a specific person and not letting them participate in fights. The Mordekaiser can remove a person, the Vi can remove a person, the Lysandra can choose another person. It's going to be a difficult matchup.
I'm definitely hoping to see that the Mordekaiser is going to be ulting that Kha'Zix, because if he jumps to the backline, your backline is dead. The Lysandra being able to ult either the Jax or the Malzahar also is a really key player, and the Vi able to get on top of that Tristana with her ult, very important.
Yes. I'd feel more like the Mordekaiser should be taking out like the Jax or the Malzahar for their AoE damage, and the Lysandra taking out the Kha'Zix.
That is a good trade-off. I believe that would also work pretty well. We do have a spectator delay here. And how do we see this Nami working out? I'm a little concerned. I do know that they have a tank, but it's a little off.
I would prefer to see essentially. I don't think banning Blitzcrank was the right option. They really should have picked a Blitzcrank in this situation. Into a Leona, Blitzcrank is going to be able to just knock her up whenever she tries to engage, and then pull the Tristana to them instead of forcing the Tristana to engage.
I could also see a Morgana being really useful here.
Yes, any champion that kind of prevents Leona from getting on top of Caitlyn would have been a better pick than Nami. But Nami's balance with healing and being able to just cast her Q at Caitlyn's feet might be the essential win here.
I'm also remembering how Threshflay also can cancel out Leona's dash. There are a couple of other supports that I think would have been great to have, considering while they do have a lot of single damaging or single character engage, they don't really have much for AoE team fights. Their team kind of looks like they're just going to go for tower pushing and they're going to try to starve out the other team. However, they have a Tristana, a Malzahar,
I think
a
the
Jax.
Lysandra might be able to turn fights here with her passive, though. Considering they have a lot of single target, just removing that person, getting the Lysandra statues out into team fights will be essential.
That is true. The Lysandra passive, everyone forgets about it.
Yes, it's one of those things where you're fighting in a team fight, suddenly you take 8,000 damage and you're confused as to where it comes from, and then you realize that your teammates killed you.
Yes, and it's almost like when you forget about Scion passive, and it's just like, oh right, this guy's running at me now.
Kog'Maw too.
Yes, Kog'Maw. I always forget about Kog'Maw passive.
Kog'Maw passive is one of those things, like you're just looking around the minimap, you see a little purple explosion, you're dead.
Yep, and you're just gone. Thankfully, they did change what that skill's off of.
Yeah.
Because that was a menace for a while.
It was indeed. Ending Scion still exists, but you can't do it with Kog'Maw anymore, at least.
Yeah, this is true. I am very interested to see what builds come out from Caitlyn and Tristana as well. Because I do think you're going to need that tank shred for Tristana, but Caitlyn doesn't really need it as much.
Caitlyn really doesn't need tank shred. They've got a lot of weak people, and I honestly prefer a Gale Force.
Absolutely. I do think that Caitlyn with the Gale Force would be very useful because there is so much to lock her down. And we are seeing matching Caitlyn and Vi skins here. Always love to see that. It just takes a second.
Okay. Just making sure.
Yep, there we go.
All right, and we are in game.
And we are seeing a cold start with DMAT from Caitlyn.
We see support items.
We do see support items! And a sweeper on our jungle!
Yes, progress. Although I'm not sure how to feel about Mord starting.
And they did just heal right off the bat.
2 ring starts on top lane.
That is interesting. Well, Jax did get reworked into more AP scaling, and Caitlyn did randomly heal on the way
That
to
is
the buff.
as unfortunate.
We see some pinks coming out from blue side to cover up those areas where they could possibly get invaded. We do have a ward in that tri-bush on their side as well.
I have yet to see them actually place the wards in those locations they were worried about, however.
We do see one, though, coming out.
One in the tri-bush, but otherwise not many.
They are not covering that mid-side entrance.
Kha'Zix making sure to wait and see if they try to invade his blue. From personal experience on Kha'Zix, that is what the enemy team usually does, is you're taking your red and your blue is gone. Very unfortunate for a champion that really relies on the level 6 advantage.
Absolutely. The other thing is that Kha'Zix does he have a slower jungle clear than Vi?
I would say they're about equal.
Okay.
However, Vi would win any fight that the Kha'Zix tries to take. I'm glad to see they're clearing from opposite ends, but Kha'Zix's not taking a leash here. That might be a disadvantage.
I was about to say, they're not giving the leash to Kha'Zix. While Mordekaiser doesn't mind getting a little behind here and helping out his jungler.
I still really feel that ring start on Mordekaiser isn't really a good option because that passive is just going to be completely useless.
Well, the tougher part about usually you would go, D-Shield?
Yes.
D-Shield has been nerfed, and the mana value that you can get... Mordekaiser doesn't even use mana. I don't understand.
Yeah, precisely. Mordekaiser
This is a very odd pick, now that I think about it.
You just get AP out of it, which, I mean, a little bit more damage on the engages against Jax here will be nice, but...
He is winning the trade so far. He does have that longer range hit rather than Jax. Jax has to jump on top of you in order to get those damage down.
Yes. However, if Mordekaiser tries to E the Jax in, the Jax is just going to walk at him. Here we see the stun, level 2 advantage.
However,
the max health damage from the Mordekaiser passive is going to deal some stuff.
And that Conqueror kicking off as well. Lethal tempo, though, on Jax, that means he's going to scale harder throughout the fights.
Caitlyn doing good job on CS here, only at 10 CS versus 9, but making sure that the enemy team also is having struggles.
Absolutely. She is going to be printing money this game, considering that she took first strike.
Much so.
And that's a good choice against a Tristana and a Leona because they are so much shorter range than you are.
Jax looking for an engage here.
Oh.
Not able to follow it up as the Mordekaiser can just walk back into tower.
Yep. And that's the scary thing about a Mordekaiser. If he holds his wave next to tower, he can just pull you back in.
Indeed.
That is a miss. Oh, we see a flash is coming out.
Flash Q,
oh, and we see the Kha'Zix gank. I think that our Caitlyn is dead.
Caitlyn is gone. Nami lives, however, which is definitely a good situation from the unwarded jungle gank.
Absolutely. We are seeing that the Kha'Zix took Dark Harvest. Does that change how he scales throughout the game?
Yes, slightly. I wouldn't say it's enough to really switch his late game from not being as useful as any other jungler's late game, but it's definitely going to create some difference.
We are seeing a lot more vision control coming out from this red side than the blue. It's a little concerning.
Kha'Zix finally roaming up towards top side. Interesting that he prioritized the bot lane gank over taking his blue side, as it will slow down his leveling path.
Yes, but getting a Tristana ahead definitely can help the game state. We also see that the mid laner on the blue side, the Malzahar, has started with a mana crystal rather than a Doran's ring.
Not sure how I feel about that as well. It feels like they just kind of traded the Doran's ring up to top lane.
Oh, and
that pull's gonna hurt.
That pull is going to hurt. I am very surprised that this Mordekaiser is doing so well in this matchup.
I would say that Mordekaiser is definitely a great pick into Jax, considering that Jax, even if he hops on top of the Mordekaiser, he's not going to be able to do what he likes with preventing the damage.
Absolutely. That is the important part, because all Jax really blocks is attack autos.
As long as the Mordekaiser is aware that that E damage scales off of auto attacks and doesn't auto attack while it's up, he's going to be able to prevent a lot of the Jax's damage.
Absolutely. So definitely not a Nashor's Tooth game from Mordekaiser.
Definitely not. I would like to see a Jax show Mordekaiser, considering their team lineup. They really need a tank here.
They do really need a tank. They do have a Vi, but I'm unsure what that build is going to be. Considering the Hail of Blades, I would see that being lethality. That was a lot of poke coming out on the Leona. That was an amazing
flash
bubble.
Q.
And the flash Q coming out from Vi. She is just autoing him, and he's going to have to flash.
Going to have to flash. Misses the E on the Vi as well. Unfortunate, considering he might have been able to turn and kill the Vi if he had landed it.
I believe so. Considering how hard he scales with attack speed rather than this Vi just going the first 3 hits.
Very much so. Jax passive again is a scaling attack speed buff. After 8 hits it's maxed out, but it's definitely going to create a higher attack speed than any other champion at this point in the game.
We are seeing another Kha'Zix gank coming out here. It's a little scary considering that Lissandra does not have mana, but she does get out.
Unfortunately, no follow-up from the Malzahar on that gank,
That is
meaning
pretty
it's
tragic.
to get out.
He is also low on mana currently. While this Caitlyn is currently behind on CS, she does have her first strike and her call, so she's probably going to make up for that in the late game.
Definitely no real gold advantage here, maybe 300 on the advantage of the blue side, but not enough to really sway the game yet. No,
Not
obviously.
just yet. I don't see a ton of backs here. Jax did get a back off first. Well, he did die. No, he didn't die. He was low.
He flashed out and had to burn it.
He grabbed his 2 daggers.
Went to refillable.
It is a very interesting choice.
I think Revealable is a good choice here, considering he's being poked out pretty hard by Mordekaiser. He's going to get a lot of worth out early game.
That is true. And we haven't seen any pots use mid lane yet either.
Engage onto Mordekaiser here. E goes down. Ult goes out from the passive damage kicking in.
Yes, that passive percent health damage really just taking out that
there goes
Jax,
the Jax.
and he is too stuck in that storm.
Just popped by the storm.
Oh, and he's gonna have
W
to
from the
flash.
Mordekaiser, preventing that turret damage.
I don't think he needed to flash there.
Not really. If he had popped the W sooner, it would have been easier. Definitely a massive minion wave for that Mordekaiser to back off of. I would prefer to see the Mordekaiser back here, letting his wave shove into tower, but he also has teleport up. It would have been a great time to take that minion advantage.
Even with the item advantage, Jax still could not make anything happen. He didn't take damage items.
Mordekaiser's base
speed.
damage is pretty strong. That's
Absolutely.
probably the difference here.
Well, and also Jax didn't take damage items.
Attack speed is sort of a damage item, but the main issue is you're not going to get a lot of worth out of it against Mordekaiser because he's just going to build up his shield and then pop it.
We're seeing a serrated dirt come out on the side of Caitlyn.
Going lethality? An interesting move on Caitlyn considering the team that she's playing into.
Well, like we said, we don't necessarily need to have that tank shred.
I would have preferred to see the consistent extra crit damage from Gale Force, however.
That is true. Caitlyn, with her crit damage and her rapid fire cannon, really does a lot.
Indeed. Getting that range up, especially using the Gale Force to get out against a team with a lot of dive champs.
Now, she has used all of her D-mats. She did just use her last one on her cannon minion to make sure she secured that.
That extra damage against cannon minions will make the difference in siege minions late game.
Absolutely.
We're starting to see some itemization here. We're seeing the mid lane going into
Lost Chapter,
allowing him to get that mana every time he levels, preventing any mana loss in the mid lane.
I am a little confused by how the Mana Crystal Start was supposed to steroid boost that Lost Chapter, make it a little bit easier to build until you can move on to your next item. However, they're even right now, and actually Lissandra has the advantage because of her starter item.
Indeed. That is the disadvantage of not starting a starting item. If you back and don't have enough gold for another item, it's not going to be
They did take Herald
worthwhile.
topside.
Herald goes down for the side of red. That's going to be a definite advantage
They are
here.
going to rotate.
This
and
feels like a
engage.
lost
Ow.
fight. I'm not sure how to feel about that.
That Malzahar ult was probably not necessary, and I think you're just going to have to give up on that top side.
I would have preferred to see the ult on the Mordekaiser there.
Absolutely.
Would have been easier to kill him, and they might have been able to flip onto the Lissandra in that situation if it had died sooner.
Absolutely. It is a little concerning that the blue side had the rotation early.
Blue side starting to get that gold advantage.
Absolutely. We are seeing, oh my gosh, that grab from the Leona.
Flying
And-
halfway across the lane there.
Absolutely.
About double the range
We
that
are
you normally see.
seeing all of the
They
summoners
do
coming
live,
out.
however, so trading summoner spells for lives is the best option you can get ever.
And ult. But granted, Leona ult is so low.
Leona ult, maybe 30 seconds on it this point in the game. No Tristana ult, though. I feel like it could have killed the Caitlyn if they had used it sooner. Although that
agree.
allows them to take dragon advantage.
This is true. Levi is going to get caught out here and go back right in with the
The level 6
Lissandra.
power spike onto that.
And we're talking about that Lissandra passive earlier. It's going to hit 2. And then
Oh!
Caitlyn snipes the
Here
Kha'Zix
goes-
out of the bush.
Here comes the passive again.
And the amount of damage coming out from this Lissandra is insane.
Lissandra's
I don't know
definitely
if
carrying this
Leona's
fight.
be able to get out of this here. I think the Caitlyn with her range is just going to take her out.
Lissandra,
And the
oh,
ult from Tristana and her double buff is going to keep her alive.
glad to see that Tristana made it out. However, the gold advantage has now flipped in favor of the red team.
They are not going to grab that Scuttle Crab, and they're not going to clear that ward in the Dragon Pit, which is a little interesting.
Prioritize getting back to those waves, though. Maybe the right decision considering they want to get them under tower before their laners get back.
I do think that the Nami probably could have rotated and cleared out Vision, though.
Definitely.
She does have biscuits as well.
Getting those biscuits is definitely going to help with any mana issues that Nami might be experiencing. I would like to see a back from the red team here.
We see a QSS coming out on the side of Jax. So
Excellent
we do know what it
decision.
does.
Hey, a Jax that knows how to build QSS. That's a good sign.
That is a rare one as well, and just used right now. I don't know if he wins this, though. Oh, Mordekaiser has no cooldowns. That leaves the couple
Mordekaiser isn't
really
autoing.
stacking up. He was not kiting correctly there.
Not kiting and not spacing out his autos. If he had gotten his passive up, he could have won that fight.
I agree that Conquer really helping with those
Kha'Zix
healing
here.
too. And that
There he
Kha'Zix
goes.
really just, oh, are they going to die for it? They will. And
The minion
they get
debuff
out.
on the damage of the Q really made the difference for Mordekaiser's survivability there, but it wasn't enough.
We are also seeing sweepers on our supports now. The finished support item coming out soon is my guess. We got a shutdown on both ADCs here. And the Vi coming in with the flash ult onto the Malzahar.
That poor Malzahar never saw it coming.
And Jax is just chipping away that tower topside. He's going to grab 2 plates for that kill. Oh, almost 2 plates. Just 1.
Mordekaiser walking back from base. He burned his teleport earlier, unfortunately.
We do still see that Rift Herald on Vi. She's going to need to use it soon. And that Kha'Zix is rotating towards the Cassandra. She dodges, but she is going to take a couple tower shots. However, I think this Kha'Zix is a little scared.
Indeed. See a Leandri's Anguish on the side of blue here. I'm not sure that's the correct decision for the Malzahar, considering the team that he's playing into.
I would have liked to see maybe a Roa. I think that would have been nice here.
Rod of Ages is a different way to get back ahead after losing your minion advantage in mid lane.
Absolutely, and the level disadvantage here currently. I think that Rod of Ages, along with the healing that it can give you, very
Healing
important.
and mana regen.
Being able to be more tanky here, especially with this Lethality Caitlyn coming out.
Lethality Caitlyn. An Eclipse on the Caitlyn.
They did use that Rift Herald topside.
I feel like Caitlyn's going to get more burst damage out of the Eclipse, but is going to lose longer trades.
Absolutely. We also see an Eclipse coming out on the Vi, and her Steel Caps coming out as well. Good choice, in my opinion, because of that Kha'Zix and that Tristana being the main carries currently. We are seeing a Nashor's Tooth, I believe, on that Jax.
Nashor's Tooth build. An interesting choice, going for AP Jax over AD into the team that he's going into.
And we also have a Duskblade coming out for our Kha'Zix.
Duskblade is definitely the correct choice on Kha'Zix. Getting that passive reset off of the invisibility is very necessary. One of the few champions that forced to build a specific mythic, considering what he's playing into.
Absolutely.
Luden's on the side of red here for our mid laner. Definitely going to get that burst damage for the Tristana and the Kha'Zix.
Absolutely. I am curious to see where their tank shred for this Leona is going to come from. Hopefully they're able to poke her out enough, but I'm a little concerned. Oh, that did a lot of damage, actually. Maybe they'll be fine.
Maybe they will be. I feel like Mordekaiser, if the Mordekaiser can stay on top of the Leona is going to get shredded eventually.
That is true. The percent max health damage.
Just playing that range on the Leona is going to be key.
Absolutely. We do see a ton of vision control from this red side while Drag comes up in just a minute.
Making sure they have that vision advantage is very good, considering they want to know where Kha'Zix is going to be at. I'd like to see the red bot lane. Indeed, they're going to play back, knowing that Kha'Zix will probably be around the area. Unfortunately, Vi is on the other side of the map with Dragon coming up soon.
I wonder if they're going to be playing for Rift Herald rather than Drag here. They don't have as much vision, and I think it would be smarter to go for Drag here. However, you can't change your jungle pathing after it's done.
Yes, very unfortunate. However, the Jax is pushing in here as the Vi is rotating up top. This could spell doom for the Jax.
Absolutely, especially if she gets on top of him before he can get anything off. Oh, he uses his stun early.
This is going to spell doom. I don't think
There's
there's
the
any chance
Vile
for the
coming
Jax
out.
to get out here.
The Mordekaiser. I don't know if there's any way to kill or anywhere to turn this, but they are going to get Drag.
Trading Dragon for a kill and potentially a Herald depends on how quickly this blue team tries to rotate.
I do think that this red side, bot side, is going to try to stall that a little bit, and it looks like they're just going to return to lanes.
Chemtech Soul out for this game, along with the boosted plants in the jungle. It's going to be interesting to see if the players play around
I
this.
can't wait to watch Vi fly across the map.
It's going to be an interesting fight. Herald goes down. Looks like they're giving it to the top laner. An excellent decision considering they want to force the advantage they've already gotten over the Jax.
Absolutely. You're
Jax-
also seeing that the call is almost finished on that Caitlyn.
Cole almost done. That's going to be good. Getting that gold advantage from the Cole has been definitely good, considering that they haven't been able to walk up and CS as much as they'd like to.
And are we seeing a Demonics or a Rylai's coming out from this Mordekaiser?
I think that would be a demonic, considering that we have another book.
That is true. We did see a Rylai's yesterday.
I would have preferred the Rylai's in this situation, but the...
I do believe the book builds into a Fiendish Codex.
Fiendish Codex into demonic. It's definitely going to be good for fighting Jax, but it's not really good for the rest of the game.
We do see an Even Shroud finished on our Leona bot side with a Tristana with Gale Force. Good choice, in my opinion.
The Gale Force is going to be good, considering the team they're playing into. They just won't have that tank shred for Mordekaiser, who's going into a demonic Gears, like previously stated, so he's going to be tanky.
Yes, as well as this Vi going a little couple tank items here without boots going on, and he is going to stun. Oh, there's 2 fights going on currently. The Tristana has to flash out while her jump is going. She heals. The Vi ult's coming out with the Nami, and we also get Caitlyn ace in the hole.
Unfortunately, that Leona wasn't able to body block.
She was, I think, CC by the Vi.
Yes, excellent choice on the Vi to ult her instead of over the Tristana in that situation.
That was a quite impressive gameplay and targeting. They're going to rotate. Are they going to spot out this
Mordekaiser
control
did go
ward?
Rylai's.
They did go Rylai's? Good.
Did go Rylai's. Better decision in this situation.
And still caps.
Sure.
Still caps into this AP Jax, not entirely sure.
I think it's going to be more to go against that Tristana. Tristana's crit's going to be nerfed out by that plated steel caps, so creating that difference in team fights is going to be good.
Oh, this Sandra
Poor
is
Jax.
roaming up, and I think this Jax is gone. Oh, he
missed the flash over the
misses his
wall.
flash. Oh,
Happens to the best of us, unfortunately. Getting that vision advantage here for the blue side support, trying to clear out some wards, making sure that their jungler can come in if they can. Unfortunately, the red side bot lane has backed, meaning this Kha'Zix can't get a real job done here. He's going to have to recall.
We don't see a sweeper out on that Nami just yet either.
I feel like that is going to be unfortunate. They do have that sweeper in the jungle, and they don't have a sweeper on the side of the blue side jungle. So more vision control overall, but not much for the bot lane.
Absolutely. We are also seeing a rapid fire cannon rush coming out from this Caitlyn, I believe, which is a little odd coming from Lethality.
Coming from Lethality, not sure it's the best decision, but is definitely good itemization considering that she's going to want to be able to hit that Tristan from range instead of having to force to target the Leona.
Yes, you're all good. We are also seeing a stopwatch on our Lissandra and an Aegis coming out for our Mordekaiser. So he is going to go Jack Show, most likely.
Excellent decision considering he's going to be in the front of team fights, having to carry the team in that regard.
We are seeing a Nash's Tooth finished out on our Jax, and we don't have an item just yet on our Nami.
3 long swords for the Kha'Zix here.
That's a build.
That's
hey,
a build.
It works.
If it works,
we are
it works.
seeing a gank up top on this Mordekaiser, and is not going to get anything out of it.
Unfortunately, Mordekaiser is smart enough to know that if he stands near minions, Kha'Zix isn't going to get his full Q damage, so he's going to be able to live easier.
They are going to go Swifties on the side of Leona.
Swifties for Leona, meaning she can run up in lane easier, trying to get that damage advantage. Unfortunately, Vi gets warded out here from the bot lane, not able to get anything done there. Setting up some vision, hopefully, for that dragon.
We are going to see an item advantage on our Caitlyn over this Tristana, as well as a boots advantage.
A lot of pings on the bot side here. We're going to see something develop here, I'm sure. But I think the Malzahar might have some issues here in just a second.
I'm a little unsure about this Lissandra as well. I'm not entirely sure about this fight. There is a flash coming out from the Malzahar. The ult from the Vi. The Lissandra is running.
Vi taking care of that Malzahar, making sure he's not going to be able to hear for the
so
team fight.
Low right now, and that damage coming out. Oh my
Self-ult
gosh!
healing. The bait here.
Ult healing, and the Vi survives.
An excellent play by the red team here, ensuring that they win that team fight, and they now have the dragon advantage. I don't think blue side can do anything about this dragon here, meaning they're able to reclaim that small difference from the earlier dragons.
Especially with the healing coming out from Nami and the jungle item, there is really no way to keep them from staying healthy enough to take that dragon.
Dragon secured, meaning that they're starting to even it out. Chemtech's Soul is definitely going to be a great thing for the red team if they get it here, considering the kind of team that they're playing. Getting low and getting that advantage below 50% is going to be necessary in team fights.
Absolutely. Also seeing that gold lead coming out from that bot side because of that first dragon, because of that call choice. She has a lot more income to play with rather than Tristana, who went D-Blade.
The Tristana thought that she'd be able to force Caitlyn off of waves, so she wasn't able to farm up, but that Cole prevents that push out that the Tristana was looking for here in the bot lane.
And she's just going to get poked from these lethality autos from Caitlyn.
I feel
it is
like
tragic.
We were afraid the rapid fire cannon wouldn't be as good as we hoped, but I think the pairing with the lethality from the Eclipse is definitely annoying that Tristana out of lane.
The range on it is just insane. And we are seeing an Armed Seeker coming out for that Lissandra, so we're building an Lasagnas, which is a good choice considering her ult. And are we seeing a Rylai's coming out for our Malzahar?
I would like to see a Raleigh.
Or is it going to be a Demonics? As they do have, I'm pretty sure, the same exact build path.
Yes, I think Rylai's would be the better decision. Again, speaking from looking at the teams here, wanting to slow down that bot lane from being able to get away, slowing down the Lissandra from being able to disengage after engaging. Same with the Vi and Mordekaiser not wanting them to get on top of your team. Slow is going to be a great thing here.
Especially since Malzahar has such a range to apply that. Now, I am also seeing that Essence Reaver coming out on that Vi, so she's going to be doing damage.
I don't think Tristana is going to be able to live very long in team fights unless the blue team really focuses on preventing Vi from getting anything done. They do have the ults to do it.
On this Kha'Zix, he jumps away, but she ults in time. The ace in the hole claims the kill.
Making sure that Caitlyn is getting even more fed going into this late game is going to be very painful for the side of blue team, as I don't think, considering the team that the red team is playing here, they aren't going to be able to get on top of that Caitlyn like they'd want to.
And she has so much range, and she has so much mobility, considering that Nami, she just gets attack speed. But we have a Jax gank here, and he's just going to take out that Nami that we were just talking about, Caster's Curse.
Caster's Curse. Caitlyn leaving, though. Caitlyn living here is great, considering she was the one with the shutdown, making sure she's not handing that off.
We have an Imperial Mandate finish on our Nami here, as well as her Ionian boots, but she still does not have her sweeper.
No sweeper yet. We would like to see a sweeper here, considering they need more vision control.
I mean,
vision control from the Vi is great, but they need more of it.
100%. And compare that to the vision score of this Leona. She is on top of it. She is clearing out wards in that tri-bush. She's clearing out wards in that river bush there. She is making sure she is on top of the lane.
Yeah. Unfortunately, Nami has just been sitting on a lot of ward stacks.
Then she finally switches to sweeper. We have a sweeper.
We have a sweeper.
And we are engaging on this Mordekaiser, but the Mordekaiser's 2 levels up because the Jax has been roaming.
They were trying to force that Kha'Zix engage, but Vi's counter-ganking here. This
and
looks
the
like...
Kha'Zix jumps over the Mordekaiser. He's just caught out. There's no way the Jax can get to him. Oh my gosh.
I feel like the Jax should not have re-engaged there.
No, but the Malzahar's there as well, so this just might be feeding.
It's just
this might just be chain feed here.
Unfortunate.
I don't know if he can get out of this Vi. He has no flash. His flash is up in like literally 5 seconds.
And the bot side also going down here. That gold advantage that we were talking about earlier is starting to turn into a snowball for the red team here.
Absolutely. They have so much damage coming out because of these item advantages. Oh, and the plant coming out because of the Chemtech that makes the Lissandra flash. I don't know if they're going to be able to catch up to this Leona.
I don't think they will. I think Leona gets to live.
I don't know about that. Oh, she's so close.
Unfortunate for the red team, but they still got that major advantage just now. Not an ace, but definitely an advantage.
And I don't think the Leona saw that Lissandra flash. They don't have that information.
We haven't been looking at top lane enough, I don't think, considering that it's all the way to inhib tower already. Mordekaiser working on that advantage that Jax decided to hand him by leaving the lane well behind.
And he does finish his Jax show.
Jax show finished up, meaning that this Mordekaiser is going to become a raid boss in team fights, getting that AoE healing, just sucking the life out of his opponents.
Absolutely. We also see the Zhonya's coming out from the Lissandra. And we have an IE second item coming out from our Tristana, but she's still working on her Berserker Greaves. This might be just trying her desperate attempt to get that steroid into her damage. However, she has to survive long enough to be able to do damage.
Once again, I'm feeling like red team made the better team comp here. Just being able to choose enemy champions that don't get to participate in team fights is going to hurt against a team that is based around team fights.
And I think we're seeing a Collector coming out from this Caitlyn.
A Collector will definitely be good, considering there's a lot of low HP opponents here. Being able to set up that Vi to deal the damage, Caitlyn to knock them down, it's going to hurt.
Caitlyn is late to this fight, and they are engaging on their Vi. The Vi is down.
Vi goes down, Mordekaiser potentially about to go down.
We have the ult coming out from Lissandra.
Nami going down, Lissandra going down.
I think this is a throw. They're going to take out. Oh my gosh, and the Caitlyn doesn't even be able to get anything there. The Tristana jumps in, but it's not able to chase. They still have a 4K gold
advantage, but it's not enough, I don't think, to carry a 4v5. A lot of gold for the side of blue here, making up a lot of that difference, along with an objective bounty. I'm kind of worried for the red team here.
Absolutely. It is very concerning. Caitlyn really can't move anywhere on the map right now because of her team being down. There is no way that she can keep herself safe.
Caitlyn just having to sit under that back tower. Leona with the Quicksilver Sash as well.
And here comes our Tristana, like we said, just taking out towers.
Yes. Tristana being able to clear out towers quickly is going to be very nice.
We do have a Dead's Dance on our Vi as well.
So that is 2 objective bounties for the side of blue here. Looks like they're trying to make up that gold difference. As earlier I mentioned, it was only a 4K difference. It's now down to a 2K, using that advantage they got from that team fight to get caught up.
We do see an item advantage on Vi over this Kha'Zix, and he does have his Yomumu's Ghostblade.
Yomu's Ghostblade letting him get into that backline easier, and especially after he goes invisible, being able to reposition is going to be very key against a character that can just be targeted and killed in a couple of seconds.
Our Jax literally went from having 2 components for his Jax show to the entire thing from that team fight.
He got a lot of those kills. Allowing him to get that Jax show is going to be very nice in team fights, considering he is also the main tank, considering Leona doesn't have a lot of items yet.
We also see a Demonis coming out on this Malzahar. We did talk about how we wanted to see this Rylai's, considering that you want to be able to catch up to the other team, but you don't need to catch up if they're running at you in first.
That Demonics is going to mean Malzahar isn't going to die as quickly, and as we saw, the enemy team was really focusing
and
on down.
And they're closing in on this Mordekaiser. However, he does have his flash up, and he does have his ult. He could ult someone here just to get a kill back, but he does not have the time.
He doesn't get the reaction and speed in time. I think
they're going to push for this mirror turret. There's going to be teleport coming out from, I believe that is Malzahar. Nope, it's the Jax. And he's going to engage right away to get the tower. However, and they might get the Jax as well.
That was a misread on the Jax's part. He's going to go down first, letting that Caitlyn get the shutdown in return.
I don't know if the Vi should have gotten back in there. Oh my gosh, the range on that Leona stun. Holy cow. The Caitlyn is going down to the Leona.
I feel like that Vi kind of just entered their Caitlyn there, unfortunately.
Lissandra does get out. She does have her claw that she can teleport to.
Does Lissandra get out?
Oh, can she back? I don't know if they're going to catch her on vision here.
Kha'Zix unfortunately not scouting the one bush she needs to.
Tragic. It seems like that every single time. We do see those bounties going over to the blue side now.
Blue side has almost caught up. They're only 1K down now.
And we see a lot of the level advantages leveling out here. Funnily enough. We do see Oblivion Orb coming out on this Nami. There is plenty of healing on their team, and we see the Mace coming out for that Leona.
Making sure that she will not be stuck in Mordekaiser ult for long. Hopefully Mordekaiser is well enough aware that he cannot ult the Jax or Leona more for worth. I would like to see him focusing down either the Malzahar or the Kha'Zix in team fights.
Absolutely. And I believe that the Lissandra should be trying to find that Tristana. Now the Tristana does have Phantom Dancer now, and the Caitlyn has finished her Collector. She still has her starter item, which is a little confusing.
Making sure we sell that coal is important, because the coal doesn't really do anything after you're finished stacking it out.
Yep, the only thing that it's really good for is that gold.
However, we see the Collector's finish, so that's going to be important during team fights.
Absolutely. We still have, well, we're even on items now, which is insane, because she was an item and a half up on this Tristana now, and now they're even.
Yeah, unfortunately, Tristana got a lot of gold out of those towers, like you mentioned earlier.
We are still seeing there's still a farm gap in jungle. This Vi is just on top of it for her.
Seems like overall, there's usually a bit more farm on the side of red team, with the exception of top lane.
Yes, however, Mordekaiser has just been pushing. He grabbed so many towers there.
Getting those towers is important.
We're seeing an ARAM situation here that they are speaking about that in the groups over there, and we are also seeing a lot of vision control coming out. Oh, we have a Nami ult coming, and it hits the Tristana twice.
I feel like the ace in the hole was a bit early here.
Yes, the ace in the hole was a bit early, and they do grab. Oh, the Vi isn't dead just yet, but she does die. She goes down to the Jax.
Fight here
the
is a very
shuts
bad
down
situation.
The Tristana. However, this
Mordekaiser,
he's a raid boss. You can't kill him, and the Lissandra passive still going, and I think this is going to be an ace.
That is the Jax show showing his power there. You can't kill Mordekaiser if you let him stack that Jax show. You got to focus him out early, or he's just going to sit there and heal off of your team.
And I think they're going to grab this tower here, and then they can probably rotate to Dragon.
Hopefully an inhib into Dragon, getting those advantages back that we lost earlier. 16 to 23 on the kill board. Gold still keeping somewhat even. 3K gap is a decent chunk, but it's not enough to sway a game entirely. Blue team still has a chance.
I think that we're going to see a Thornmail coming out for this Leona, as well as she has 2 vests here. And
I feel like that's a great decision, considering that Vi went Eclipse
absolutely.
and
Essence Reaver?
Other item.
Death's Dance.
Death's Dance, not being able to get that healing off of her killing an opponent backline is going to be huge.
Absolutely. We also see a Morello's on our Malzahar.
Morello's definitely going to nerf healing once again. It feels like they really don't want...
And I'm not entirely sure the Kha'Zix should have jumped into the pit like that.
Kha'Zix jumped early, is going to die here before
And
Dragon
then
hits the
Tristana
HP.
falls in!
Smite out, 2 kills. That feels like a very bad engage on the side of blue here.
I am shocked at the Tristana jumping in on that.
Tristana really wanted to steal that dragon. I mean, I understand because that would have been Soul, but they ended up just losing 2 lives and a dragon out of it.
I'm also seeing a Shadow Flame on the Cassandra, which is a really good item in general because the pen.
Red team going straight for Baron here.
I mean, you can. You have so much control over the
Yes,
map.
they have a 2-person advantage. They have vision control. There's no reason they can't.
And, I mean, again, you said the 2-person advantage. Their jungler is down. They have no smite to contest this.
Jungler up in 10 seconds, definitely not early enough to prevent the Baron play.
Even with Caitlyn not having that attack speed, I think they just shred this because of the Mordekaiser.
Super minions in mid doing work, meaning that somebody has to stay in base
And the
and
Manami
defend.
gets the Baron.
Nami gets the Baron. Love to see it.
Hey, supports need gold too.
Oh, I didn't notice it earlier in the game, but we got a skin synergy here between the mid...
Caitlyn and the Vi?
Caitlyn and the Vi. Love to see it.
I know, I love that. I mean, it's a canon relationship as well.
Valentine skins as
Yep.
well.
One of my favorites. It is a very cute set.
For sure.
This Jax does have a Farsight Ulseer, I think is what it's called, the blue trinket.
Blue trinket.
And we also see a Thornmail coming out on the side of Mordekaiser. And he
Thornmail
has a Domonics.
Thornmail, an excellent decision considering that there is a Jack show on that Jax and the Nashor's Tooth, meaning that he's going to be getting a decent chunk of healing. Not sure that it's really necessary for the rest of the team, however. Feels like a bit of unnecessary itemization considering that Nami has Chemtrack Putrefier.
True, however, Thornmail is just more armor.
More armor is nice.
And Kha'Zix is just deleted. We see the
Kha'Zix
Nami all coming out,
removed,
hits
Tristana
the Jack,
removed.
or hit the Leona. Oh my gosh, they're just falling one by one here. Jax tries to go in here, and he gets pulled back into a
CC bubble.
And Leona takes the kill. We're just Leona. I don't know if she can hold this, and she
Definitely
can't.
not. Unfortunate.
Vi
is making a mistake.
I think she's just gonna go down.
Leona gets the shot down.
Leona gets the kill. But I was gonna say Morello's is a good item because of the penetration. However, it did not tend to sway much of this game.
Unfortunate. Looks like red team's just going to finish up here.
Absolutely, and that is game. That was a wonderfully packed game. It really swung both ways. It was really hard to tell who's gonna win that.
Both teams definitely capitalized on the other's mistakes, which is important in League. If you don't capitalize on each other's mistakes, you're going to have issues, unfortunately.
So the win goes over to Platteview.
All right. We'll be heading into the second round here shortly.